This is Rebecca from Eclectic Endeavors, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cute graduation hat style gift card box. I think they call it a mortar board as well. As you can see, there is a box underneath. I don't know if you can see on the video, but there is a ribbon that holds the bottom of the box closed. I made my own tassel for the top, and this is a brad holding the tassel on. So here we go, and I'll show you how to make it. First, you're going to start with your box bottom, and the square measures 6.5 by 6.5 inches, and then you're going to score on all sides at 1.5 inches. Then you're going to trim your corners as shown. You're going to cut down along the score line in these 4 spots, and then you're going to remove some of the tabs so it's not quite so big and bulky, and then you're going to angle your tabs so that it makes it easier for the box to fit together. As you can see, I've put some strong dry adhesive on right next to the score line. I don't actually put it on this side, it's not really necessary. If you wanted, you could put 2 strips on, but you definitely want it glued closest to the scoring line. So now I'm going to take off my adhesive backing. Fold everything up. Including my tabs. And then I'm going to adhere my box together. Making sure you get it nice. Whoop. Making sure you get it nice and square at the corners. Once you learn how to make this style box, you can pretty much come up with whatever kind of box you need for almost anything. And there we go. Now the bottom of the box is finished. So we're going to set that aside for now. The next step is to make the box lid, which has an oversized graduation hat style top. And because I didn't want to waste paper and I was hoping to get this out of exactly 2 sheets of cardstock, instead of making the lid be like this and just fit over top, instead I just make the framework for the sides of the box and then glued it underneath the graduation hat style top. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take 2 pieces of paper, 2 pieces of cardstock, sorry, and they are 7 3/4 inches by 2 1/8 inches wide. You're going to then take your pieces and put them on your scoring board. Get your scoring tool, and we want this to be slightly larger than the box bottom. So in order to do that, we're going to make it 1/16 of an inch larger. Well, that's not exactly easy to score and measure. So what you're going to do is on your scoring board, most scoring boards have a little mark where it shows you to set your paper to then get 1/16 of an inch scores. So you're going to move your paper to that line, and then you're going to score at 3 5/8, which actually gives you just a tiny bit more than 3 1/2. Now, as you can see, I've reset my paper back to the beginning, or to the 0 on the board, and then you're going to score at 7 1/8, and you're going to do that for both pieces. Then you're going to turn your paper this way, and you're going to score at 1 5/8. Now you're going to trim the pieces in that adhesive like I did for the box bottom. And when you do so, your pieces are going to look like this. You're going to trim off the corner that was here. That would be this corner here. And when you do so, you want to angle this one just a little bit, like we did on the box bottom. But on this one, because the 4 pieces are going to come together, you need to actually miter the corners quite a bit. So you're going to cut off a larger angle. And as you can see, I have already put my adhesive on. The reason I put a larger amount of adhesive on these tabs than on the box bottom tabs is that this actually has to hold the weight of whatever you're putting inside your box. So if it's not just a gift card and it's a little gift, which I've certainly left enough depth for in order for you to use it as a gift box instead of just a gift card box, then you're going to want a little more sturdy adhesive, because this will be holding up the bottom. So now that you have your pieces ready, what you're going to do is you're going to remove the adhesive on the small tab. And I actually like to line them up against my board because that makes sure that they're going to line up nice and straight. And you're going to stick those two together. Okay. And fold those scores. Oops, sorry, I went off camera there. And fold this tab here. Take the adhesive off. And fold it into a box shape. So there, now you have, whoop, one more fold. Now you have your framework for your box top. Now you're going to take another piece of paper and you're going to cut it 6 by 6 inches. I don't need my scoring tool anymore, so I'm going to set it aside. And you're going to find the center by drawing diagonal pencil lines. I'm not sure how well you can see that on camera, but you're going to take your ruler and draw a diagonal in from corner to corner again, and mark your center and punch a little hole. I use an Anywhere screw punch, which will actually work really well for the next step. If you have one of the kind that hammers, that works well too. A Crop-A-Dile doesn't really have a hole quite small enough. Since we're using a large brad, I guess you could probably use it if you had the long reach version. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to trace some lines. Again, I'm not sure how well you can see the pencil lines, but you're going to trace some lines on your box that are 1 3/4 inches away from the center line, from the center on all 4 sides. What this does, it basically gives you a framework so that when you go to add your box, you have some guidelines for sticking it down and keeping it nice and square, because if you don't, then of course this piece won't fit inside if it's not square. The other thing you can also do is use this to help keep you square, but then it's also difficult to have it centered. So I drew the lines even when I realized you could put that in to help keep your box square. For now, and you can see now why we mitered the corners on the inside, otherwise we'd have overlap and it would be kind of bulky. So we're just going to remove one, oh actually, forgot one step. At this point we're actually going to add some ribbon here, because what the ribbon does, you can see in my original box, is it holds the box bottom on. Otherwise, it would be pretty hard for this box to stay inside. Now, I just tied my ribbon. I'm trying to get an angle where you can see it well with the light. Sorry. I just tied mine, but I allowed for a little bit more ribbon in the instructions since I made this one, so that you can actually tie it in a bow if you wish. So that the ribbon is on the side of the box. Now, you can center this ribbon if you wish and have it tie underneath, but I chose to have mine to the side so I could sort of hide it when I presented it. What you're going to do is you want your ribbon to be offset so that the center is 5.5 inches, and this is going to get covered up, so don't worry if your adhesive isn't perfect, and your stronger adhesive from adding the box top will actually hold this on. So this is just to hold it until you assemble. So you actually want it to be 5.5 inches on the one side. You can see I didn't get my adhesive quite perfect, but like I said, that's okay, it's going to get covered up. Okay, you want to make sure that's nice and straight so the pieces are at the center on each side as well as in the middle. So you want to make sure and erase those pencil lines right up until the corners if you have any extra from drawing in your diagonal or from drawing in your straight lines, because it will be a little bit hard to erase right next to your box bottom once you get it assembled. For now, only take off one piece of adhesive, and you're going to center that between your marks and then set it down, and then remove one more adhesive backing piece. going to set that down. Now remove your box bottom. Make sure your adhesive is stuck down well. And then remove the last two pieces of backing. I'm going to do that and be right back. So I finished attaching the box, removed the adhesive on the rest of the sides, and now what I need to do is make a hole through the ribbon on the inside so that I can see where I need to actually punch a hole. And I'm going to use the same punch I used before to make my hole, which you didn't see. You need some kind of punch that can reach down inside the box, whatever that punch is, and alternatively you can always snip with scissors. I'm going to go ahead and make a hole in the ribbon to put my brad through. The brad prongs are a bit large to just try and jam it through the ribbon. This is sheer ribbon, it probably would have worked, but the other ribbon I was using was grosgrain, and as you can see I swapped out projects for a minute because I didn't like the way the filming went and I needed a redo, but I'd already completed that project, which you will see me go back to in a minute. So now you're going to put your brad in, and yes, I know the navy tassel doesn't go with the black paper. This is again a concession to the redo. And on the inside you're going to open the brad. I love this tool by We Are Memory Keepers. It keeps me from breaking my nails, and of course on the original video it worked instantly, and on this one I'm having to fuss with it. Figures, right? Okay, there we go. I've set the brad in, and now we're back to our regularly scheduled project redo over. Okay, so we are almost, oh, you're going to pull those together. So we're almost all done. The only thing left to do is put some paper on the inside. Now I have already cut a piece that is 3.5 by 3.5, and I chose to use an interesting paper with a pop of color to the inside just because, well, this one in particular is for a girl, and I just thought, you know, graduation hats are a little boring on the outside. Even though I used paper that had a little bit of texture, it's still pretty boring. As it is, I used navy instead of black. But I'm going to put some adhesive on this piece. And I'm going to adhere it to the inside. And that way you cover up your lines, your brad end, your ribbon bits, and any adhesive that might show, plus all of the tabs from the inside of attaching the box to the inside. Now this is especially where you want to make sure that that you'll notice if your box wasn't put on straight, because if it wasn't, then your piece might not fit. But this piece is slightly smaller than the, I'm just trying to get it centered, slightly smaller than the box itself, so it shouldn't be too hard to place. Okay, now you're going to insert your box bottom. Tie it up. And of course, can I get a bow to tie nicely and quickly on camera? No. Oh, I know why. Because my ribbon is still cut too short. This ribbon is actually 2.5 inches shorter than what I'm going to recommend in the instructions, and that's why I can't tie a bow. So there you go. Graduation hat gift box or gift card box. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you'll take a look at my blog, eclecticendeavors.blogspot.com. Thank you.